If someone were to ask you, what are the key points argument in favor of critical race theory, what would you say?
Because of the laws that we have, which should be race neutral, it's been very hard, I think, for people to understand how inequalities have been perpetuated. That with the end of slavery so long ago, in 1865, say, or earlier, some other places, or the end of Jim Crow, which was really 64 and 65 of the civil rights movement, why groups of people, in this case primarily African Americans, have not succeeded as well in society as most whites have. And what critical race theory says is you have to look beyond racism of individuals to look at how institutions have perpetuated uh, these inequalities. For instance, the American Medical Association, did not recognize or would not allow African Americans to train at certain hospitals. Things like that are part of the continuation, or black doctors to be part of the American Medical Association. So the continuation of discriminatory practices that we've laid out before, such redlining, covenants that keep African Americans from living or being able to purchase homes where they could accumulate in wealth that then would allow them, as so many white people did under the veteran plan, to buy homes in places where their property values went up and allowed them then to send their children to school, have the equity in their homes to do so many other things, invest in businesses that have perpetuated these inequalities over society that are not just related to George Wallace saying, that he's not going to allow segregation to end or to allow black people to come to the University of Alabama. That it's not an individual problem, it's a structural problem of the institutions in American society. And I think we have to take those criticisms seriously, uh, particularly when we realize that we have never really had an integrated society. People still live in segregated areas, and that is because of these institutional rules that were built into lending, mortgage lending, where people could buy homes and things. So I think it's important to understand that, but also to continue to understand that individuals make choices and certain political leaders can perpetuate on their own without institution racist ideas and how these laws are going to be interpreted.
Now, looking at the critical race theory, the way it is today, what do you think is the future of it, of this idea? Do you think it's going to, what do you see as the future?
Well, it's been around since 1970, but the problem now is the way it's being depicted by some people is this evil thing that is hurting American society and hurting children. So you cannot teach it, you cannot use it. I just don't know if we can get over this understanding of people, particularly now that it's become a political issue, that it's being used by particular political parties to denigrate it as a problem in American society when it's nothing more than a theoretical framework to approach and understand American society. It itself is just as any theory is. Is why I wanted to point out with Derek Bell how it is for him something that even the spirituals and is related to religion informed his ideas of critical race theory of how people survived in society in a segregated society and world.
Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate your time and contribution. What would be your final statement here to conclude the conversation we have today about critical race theory in the United States?
Well, I think it is a shame that just a framework theoretical framework for trying to understand disparities and what happened and why, with Brown v. Board, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, we have so many disparities still in society, has been demonized as this horrible dividing issue in society that, if people use it, will make white children feel bad in school, and that makes race predominant in American society. When again, it's just a scholarly tool that was originally framed by legal scholars and now has been adopted into several other disciplines. But again, it is nothing more than one approach to understanding our history and our society, and can be useful. And I think that we need to take seriously, whether we agree or disagree with the points that are brought up, that despite the end of segregation, supposedly laws that say that society can be segregated, that we have not been able to make the advances we would hope we would be able to make in race relations.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being interested in helping. As I said, I really do believe, quoting the two Adams family members, that it is only through looking at the truth, looking at those documents, looking at the evidence and understanding them, that we can counter this false narrative that's being created about American history.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.